Good morning, everyone. It is, again, cloudy, drizzly, and it's only in the 40s. But guess what? I am on my way to Cleveland. My daughter-in-law has an appointment with her MS doctor, and she didn't want to go alone. So I'm going to be running to her house and going to Cleveland, and I'm going to pack myself a lunch. But anyways, when I get back, because I should be back by early afternoon because it's early. Anyways, when I get back, I'm going to make some kind of bread because we don't have anything here. So I have no muffins, I don't have any breads, I don't have anything. So I'm just going to start cooking up a few things and see how that works out. But I'll talk to you when I get back, and I hope everybody enjoys their day. Well, today I am making what is called paleo banana bread. And all of the paleo diet is grain-free. So that's why a lot of their recipes, I will turn to the paleo for certain recipes. This particular one takes 4 bananas that's been mashed up, 4 eggs, a half a cup of almond butter, 4 tablespoons of butter, a half a cup of coconut flour, a teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of clove, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, a teaspoon of baking soda, baking powder, and vanilla, and a pinch of salt. So in this one here, I have my bananas, my eggs, and my butter, and I will be putting the almond butter in there also. And in this one is all of my dry ingredients, which would be my flour, my cinnamon, all my other spices, baking soda, baking powder, and my salt. So I will begin mixing this up, and then we can make some banana bread. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my almond butter in here, and then I will begin mixing that up. And I'm just going to mix up our dry ingredients a little bit, because once that is mixed up, we are going to be adding this into that. It says that we are to put it into a well-greased loaf pan unless we're using silicone. And I don't have any silicone, so we will definitely be using a greased loaf pan. And it's supposed to take a teaspoon of vanilla, so I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. I'm going to turn this down a little bit, and I am going to begin to add my dry ingredients. I'm going to gradually add them. Well, I think that looks good, so we will go ahead and we will put it into our pan. This particular recipe also gives variations of things you can do. It says that you can make it into cranberry orange by using only 3 tablespoons of butter, because we had 4. And then by adding the zest of a whole orange and the juice of that orange, and then a cup of dried cranberries. That sounds really good too. And then another variation was chocolate blueberry, which says to add a cup of fresh blueberries and a half a cup of cocoa powder, which is nice because the cocoa powder is unsweetened, so it's just actually the bananas that are going to be what sweetens that. I thought that was kind of a neat idea. Oh, I kind of flopped that there, didn't I? And it just says just smooth it out and put it in a 350-degree oven and cook for 55 to 60 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean when placed in the center. Anyways, I will go ahead and stick that in the oven, and then I can show you what it looks like when it's done. Well, that looks really yummy. Hello again, everyone. I trust everybody's having a great day. And yes, we are continuing in Philippians chapter 4, verses 15 to 19. Now, you Philippians know also that in the beginning of the gospel, when I departed from Macedonia, no church shared with me concerning giving and receiving, but only you. For even in Thessalonica, you sent aid once again for my necessities. Not that I seek the gift, but I seek the fruit that abounds to your account. Indeed, I have all and abound. I am full, having received from Epaphroditus the things sent from you, a sweet smelling aroma, an acceptable sacrifice, well-pleasing to God. And my God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. As we think about the verses that I just read, notice that the Philippian church had done what no other church had been willing or able to do, which was to send a gift to Paul while he was in prison. And verse 16 tells us that this was the second time that they had sent a gift. This verse also informs us that they supplied him aid for his necessities, all of his needs. And Paul's primary desire for his dear friends in Philippi, as we're told in verse 17, was for them to receive the fruit that would abound to their account from the Lord. Calling the gifts a sweet smelling aroma, acceptable and well-pleasing to God. That's what he calls it in verse 18. Isn't that beautiful? We often withhold our goods and our assets because we're afraid that if we give them away to others, then there'll be a lack in our own life. But Paul puts this fear to rest in verse 19, where we are told that God will supply all our needs according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. Our natural inclination is to store up, to save, to invest, and to take care of ourselves. But when we are willing to share and to give away some of our resources, it's an act of faith, because we must believe that God will supply our needs. And that causes us then to trust in the Lord that he will take care of us. Paul relates giving as a spiritual issue, as an act that bears spiritual fruit in our lives, and it pleases God. I want to read a story that I found that it blessed my heart, so I want to share it with you. It says, George Mueller was a British man who opened and operated an orphanage in the mid-1800s on faith basis. For 40 years, George Mueller literally prayed food into the mouths of up to 2,000 orphans each and every day. He fervently prayed to God, the one who had promised to supply all his needs. In the end, Mueller's 2,000 orphans were cared for and given a happy home and instructed in the Christian life. Yes, this dear saint lived his life on the receiving end of others' giving. Some days he refused to even get up off of his office floor where he knelt praying until a worker would gently tap on his door to let him know that God had once again supplied the food that had arrived from yet another source for one more day. When George Mueller died, though he had handled over $8 million sent in throughout those years for the work of the orphanage, he possessed only a very meager amount of some personal goods. That story just really touched my heart, and I wanted to share it with you because I think that it goes along with these verses really beautifully. He was a remarkable man. He had total trust and reliance on the Lord, that the Lord would provide. You know, in this present age that we live in, where material goods are everywhere, the lines between need and want can become blurred. We need to be sure to know and understand the difference between need and want. And with that, I want to remind you, life happens. Let's enjoy it. And may the Father enjoy the sweet-smelling aroma of our own sacrifice in our giving to others. God bless, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.